would be considered the uncommon athlete because she really grabbed all of the great things that sports really, really have to offer.
Hello, everyone. This is Coach Tim Brown, author of the book Uncommon Athletes. And I've been doing a video series on uncommon athletes. And I'm excited to have a very uncommon coach has joined us today. And this is a coach who's the head girls basketball coach here in Columbus, Ohio, at Columbus Afrocentric High School. This Coach McKinney has led the Lady Nubians to not seven straight, but seven state championships. I wanted to say seven straight because I know you had a little roll there. I know one year you won 3 out of 4, didn't you? Did you win 3 out of 4?
Well, one year I went 4 years in a row to the state tournament, and we ended up winning back-to-back state titles,
Back
and
to
we were
backs. Yeah.
undefeated in one of those years.
Okay. Yeah,
Yep.
but seven of them. And you built the program from scratch, didn't you? Can you tell us a
Yep.
little bit about yourself first? And I know you're from Chicago and kind of share your experience in basketball and how you got into coaching.
I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois. I played high school ball for Julian my freshman year, and Kentwood after that for the next 3 years after that. I didn't play in college. I ended up going to Central State University, and I and ironically enough, that's kind of where the whole coaching thing kind of initially sparked off because when I was at Central State, the coach at the time there was Kevin Porter. And if you remember Kevin Porter, for a long time, he led the NBA in assists until Scott Skiles eventually ended up breaking his record. And then he ended up leading the NBA in fouls too. So Kevin Porter was a great basketball mind, had a really stellar NBA career. And when I went to Central State, I'm an early riser. I get up early in the morning. So I just happened to be walking through the gym, and Coach Porter was in there hitting some racquetballs. And he said, man, what you doing up this early, boy? I was like, man, I'm just walking through the gym. He said, you know how to play racquetball? So I started playing racquetball with Coach Porter, and and built a relationship with him. And then every time they had practice, I always walk through and just say, what's up, coach? He's like, what's up, Will? And then we just built a relationship, and eventually ended up taking me on the road with him. So I kind of traveled a little bit here and there with the team every blue moon to games and stuff like that. And that's kind of where it started out at. But how I just initially got into coaching girls was I took a job at McFarland Middle School in Dayton, and my fraternity brother Dave Henderson told me that he needed a girls coach because the guy that they previously had was leaving. And so I told him, I'll go ahead and take that job, and I taught health. And on that team there was a young lady by the name of Brandy Hoskins, who was a point guard at Ohio State, playing on the team. So my very first time coaching girls basketball, I had a McDonald's All American on my team. You know what I'm saying? And so my very first year, we went undefeated.
Right.
We won the Dayton championship. Then I was only there for 1 year, and the next year, Mr. Dorsey from Linmore Middle School from out here in Columbus just called me because I had a mutual friend teaching at Linmore at the time, and Troy Taylor was getting ready to leave. And so Mr. Dorsey kind of called me and was like, hey, I hear that you're a phys ed teacher, and I heard you coach girls basketball. My coach is getting ready to leave. We need a African American male in the building. I think you'd be great for our environment. So he and I talked on the phone. So I ended up, coming here to Columbus and working in Limo. And it was great because that first year too, Sat Sellinger was teaching in the building. And I love recreation. I love being out. I actually coached track a little bit over there. I did soccer, and being from Chicago, you always around the court, always in the
Mhm.
gym,
Right.
or you gang banging. I wasn't a
Right.
gang banger, so
Right.
I'm used to just being around. So when I got engaged at Linmore, I was a guy who after school I stay there. I'd open up I had a gym open. I gave a place for kids to kind of
Mm,
get engaged and get involved. Like even after we got out of soccer practice, the guys wanted to kind of play some basketball and do stuff like that. I opened the gym up, let them come in there, play basketball. Just I in the early goings, you know how God works. He kind of push you to your passion,
mm,
and it wasn't ironic that I just ended up in the space that I was in because growing up, I never once said I wanted to coach girls basketball. But when you talk about how spirit moves people, and if you're in the right state of mind, you will allow your spirit to put you in what your passion is supposed to be. And it wasn't ironic that I just happened to come here, happened to be around some great basketball minds. You just see how God just kind of placed me
yeah.
in all of these people, in front of all these people, because I even remember at Linmore when like I said, I stayed in the gym, so I always be there just working out kids and practicing girls after school, and Satch would be sitting there watching me do post moves wrong with the kids.
Right.
He'd be sitting there watching me teach the wrong post moves. He'd
Right.
be like, "Boy, what is you doing?" He ain't shy for words, so he'd be like,
Right.
"Man, you doing that stuff all wrong." Then my frat brother ended up getting the principal job at Linmore. I mean at Africentric, and I run into him at Ash University, take some classes for my master's. He goes, "Hey man, I'm about to start this job at this new school. They're gonna turn it into a high school. It's called Africentric." He's like, "Man, what you should come over. I hear you do girls. You should come over and run my girls program." And I was like, "Man, absolutely not. I have zero interest in doing that. I'm just getting my hands wrapped around how to coach middle school girls. You know what I'm saying?"
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh, come on." I was like, "Nah, bro, that's too at a new school. Are you kidding me?" And so he must have blew my ears up about this job. I said, "Listen, bro, on the strength of brotherhood, if you can't find nobody to take the job, bro, I said I'll come over there and start your girls program. I ain't got a problem with it." 2 weeks later, he called me like, "Bro, I can't give this girl's job away." I mean, he's like, "Nobody wants this job, bro." He's like, "Listen, if you come over here and take this job, bro, I take you out to lunch every once a month, bro. Because, dude,
Right.
I gotta have a girls team, and no one, absolutely no one, is interested in this job, bro." I said, "Man, I ain't gonna leave you out there, good brother." So I ended up.
So as you began to build this program, can you talk about what do you see when we talk about being an uncommon athlete? Describe to some young athletes what an uncommon athlete looks like. What is different about them than the average common athlete?
Well, the uncommon athlete is that athlete that's really well rounded. Okay, the uncommon athlete is that athlete who is a great teammate. A great teammate has a fantastic attitude, can handle accountability or responsibility, and they're goal oriented. They got vision. They have the ability to see the big picture. And an uncommon athlete is really the athlete that gets everything out of sports that they're supposed to get. I consider myself an uncommon athlete. I'm somebody that plays sports my whole life. I've since the fourth grade. I mean, I wasn't the most athletic athlete. I wasn't the best athlete, but I definitely was a competitor, and I just love being part of the team. I mean, I wasn't at all selfish. I mean, I was at the front of the lines on the sprints.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? I was the first one to practice. I never missed a practice or a game. My entire There's never been a time where it was like I couldn't go. I've been to every single game and every single practice, not for illness or anything. So, when I think about uncommon athlete, it's the athlete that really gets all of the beauty from being engaged and being part of sports. They haven't dummied it down in their mind as to just say, I just want to be a professional. You know what I'm saying? They can see past the lights and the glamour of what is consistently fed into us.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because we just bullied by a lot of propaganda to make you think one certain way about sports. But the uncommon athletes is the athlete that really gets it. I had Renee Waters, one of my former players, come back and speak at my banquet. Okay, so she's one of the very few athletes that didn't get an athletic scholarship to play basketball, but she got an academic scholarship, the presidential scholarship,
Hmm.
to go to North Carolina A&T. Now she's at the University of Princeton. No, Princeton University
Yeah.
in the neurology program.
Mm.
You understand what I'm saying to you?
Mm.
Young lady from Africentric at Princeton
Yeah.
University, getting her PhD in the neurology program.
All right.
So I had her come back and speak at the banquet, and she just spoke about how playing basketball and being part of Afrocentric girls basketball team prepared her for that. You understand what I'm saying to you? She didn't say that this will make me be able to play in college, and she's like,
Hmm.
no, being part of this basketball team prepared me for how to come from Afrocentric to a HBCU to go to a predominantly white Ivy League school. I mean, the best of the best, and still step in there and compete, and literally don't ever question, am I smarter than everybody in this room?
Right.
Because even there, she's at the top of the class.
That's good stuff.
You understand what I'm saying to you?
Oh yeah, that's
So when
good
you
stuff.
talk about an uncommon athlete, Renee Waters will be considered the uncommon athlete because she really grabbed all of the great things that sports really have to offer.
So when a young lady leaves your program, and they're going to leave with a championship, we know that. At some
Mhm.
point if they stick around 4 years, they're going to get a piece of the net. But what are those other qualities that you want young ladies that leave your program to leave with? We got the basketball, but what are some of the other qualities they can take with them to be successful in life?
You know, those qualities. One is work ethic.
Hmm.
Okay, you know you're not afraid to work hard. And what people don't understand about when you run a practice, and the practice is minute to minute. You know what I'm saying? You're not just going off the top of your head. You have a
Yeah.
practice plan. Every minute is practice. So when young folks have an opportunity to be part of something that is precise and organized, and there's expectations along the way through everything, when they get a healthy diet of that,
Mm.
that always transfer over into everyday life. Because you get a kid like that that's been dealing with that, they're not going to buckle at a tough day at work. They're
Mm.
not going to get up and say, I don't feel like going to work today. It's not really something that's even an option. You know what I'm saying? And then the thing about it, when you have an environment where you have expectations for everybody, not just the big time superstar athlete, but you got expectations. That person who's the last person to come off the bench is in here working too, and they're getting um positive reinforcement and instructions on a consistent basis, and that's very important for young folks. You know what I'm saying? Kids need to understand that they have to be able to hear what
Hmm.
they're doing wrong. You know what I'm saying? They have to be willing to accept that. So when you have a 3-hour diet of that every day, okay, for 4 years, when you get to the next level, this is why I told you about the young lady at Princeton. Like, she says, I can go into Princeton and know that I'm I'm still smarter than that, but I'm not, what I'm saying,
Right.
because she's a competitor.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So when you get those things and a consistent diet of that for 4 years, what I'm saying, you become a better version of yourself. And I always tell my girls, I say, hey, you come to Afrocentric and you survive this situation and being around me for 4 years, and all you learned was how to play basketball, then you missed it. You didn't get nothing. You got absolutely nothing. If all you learn to play is basketball after being around me for 4 years and being in Afrocentric girls program, then you've missed something totally.
Champions in life. champions in life, not just on the court, but
Yeah.
life. That this whole all these qualities will carry you on through your life. You have a special jacket uh, that has some special names on there. How does a young lady get on that jacket?
Well, everybody who receives a scholarship, to college, gets. I got my jacket. And I got their name and the college and stuff like that that they went to on the jacket, and I just kind of put that jacket together so that if one day, I can't remember, I can at least go read a piece of material to tell me at least the kids who went on to get scholarships.
Yeah, yeah, that's special. And I know that does your heart well,
Yeah.
to know that those young ladies had that opportunity. And that's all we're trying to create is opportunities for them. And the beautiful thing about the young ladies that you work with, not only do you create the opportunities, but they strive in those opportunities. They thrive in those opportunities. They don't just show up. They come, like you said, with a goal, with a plan of being successful. So when you think about the legacy of Afrocentric basketball, what would your legacy be? What do you want your legacy to be?
Um, I just want my personal, well, Afrocentrics. I just want Afrocentric legacy to be, it's an institution, and it was a program that produced extraordinary young ladies with high character on a consistent basis over sustained period of time. You know, I felt like I wanted Afrocentric to be a great program, not just a good basketball team, but I wanted it to be a great everlasting program. I wanted us to be so successful that it would be impossible for somebody not to write us into the history books. It'll just be hard to do that. I mean, I just want it to be a place that will ever stick in people's mind, will always be something that folks will remember as a high end basketball program.
I want to thank you for being a family man.
Yeah.
And see, we don't recognize that enough. I don't think we say that enough, or we recognize that enough. That I know your wife. I was your wife's coach back when she was young. I know the
Yeah.
family. So I know your wife, and I watch her. And seeing how you are towards your wife, towards your bride, and towards your children. That you don't lose your children in helping everybody else.
Nah, not
You're
at
not
all.
going to lose your family and helping everybody. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Is our family.
About the whole family thing. And that whole piece, my testimony is kind of different than most other people, because you know how when you a young man, and all of these kids, when you ask them what they want to be, a big chunk of them be like, I want to be a pro football player, or I want to be a pro basketball player. That's my car and all of that stuff. The funny thing about me, and this is just the truth, the life that I live right now is the life that I strive to want to have. I'm probably one of the few guys that never thought marriage was nerdy or nothing like that. It was
Mhm.
something that I always just wanted to do, because at the end of the day, in order to have that name, you know what I'm
Come
saying?
on.
To
Yeah.
order to have a name,
Yeah.
you if you ain't got the family, it just don't hit the same way.
Right. Right.
And then, it's just funny that when I talk about God and how he leads you to your passion, it's not ironic that I just end up in an environment that's a family environment.
Right.
When
Right.
I first moved here, so when I first moved here, I started getting into AAU and being around all these fathers.
Hmm.
It just really was it was coming full
Full
circle.
circle. Yeah.
So it's not a coincidence that my wife is actually part of a basketball family. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
it was
Right.
this situation that I'm in. See, people always say, they live in they dream, and they got their dream job. Well, I'm living a dream. When
Yeah.
people say
Oh yeah.
living a dream,
Oh
like
yeah.
nah. For me, it's like nah. I'm
It's
really
real.
living my dream
Yeah,
because
this is real.
this has been something I've always wanted, just to have a family and name. So that was just I didn't mean to get off the cuffs, but that
Oh
was
no, no,
just
no. That was no that that was rich. That was powerful, and I think that's where I was going. That how respected you are for that side as well, for the family side. And trust me, you have young ladies, that's on your team, and guys in the school building as well who want what you have. You know, they see your wife. I've seen your wife on the bench with you sometimes. When you're younger, and I've seen, and the boys come to practice. You're just
yeah,
hanging around. All that. And trust me, you had young ladies seeing that, and they're saying that, hey, I want that. That's what I
right.
want.
You
That's
did,
what I want.
yeah.
That's
That's
what I want. I want that. And you mentioned Kalia Harris. You mentioned Charlita Harris, who's with the kid children or whatnot. They've seen that and they saw that in you. And also you've been that male role model for a lot of those young ladies to see what a man looks like, to
mm-hmm,
see how a man's supposed to treat a woman,
mm-hmm,
how they're supposed to be treated. And so now you got those girls have expectations, you
exactly.
know, and then you've been that for them. So yeah, no, that's good stuff. That's well said and well needed to be said. Well needed to be said. So I appreciate this time. But man, this has been good. We can share these war stories all day, man. But but I thank you for carving out some time, and go Nubians. We'll be praying for you to get that. I know once you get that eighth title, you'll have the most of any coach in Ohio. So I know that. I've been doing my research, so I know that. And we'll look forward to you getting that eighth one. So be blessed, coach. Have a great day.
All right. Thank you, thank you,
All
thank
right.
you. Appreciate
Yeah.
it.